All right, let's get into this. We see plants literally every day, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about how they're built? See, it's not a one-and-done kind of thing. A plant's entire life is this incredible, continuous construction project. So, what's the blueprint that makes it all possible? Let's take a look.
I mean, seriously, just imagine that for a second. What if, for your entire life, you could just decide to grow a new arm? Or maybe add a few inches to your height whenever you felt like it?
Well, for the plants all around us, that's not some crazy sci-fi movie plot. It's just how they live. This ability to just keep building and rebuilding is their superpower. It lets them adapt, compete for sunlight, and basically thrive no matter what the world throws at them. So how in the world do they pull this off? Well, it all comes down to their blueprint. You know, most animals, us included, we get a fixed body plan pretty early on in life. But plants, they are designed for perpetual development, from day one until the very end.
And this difference is absolutely key. Think about it. For animals like us, our body plan is pretty much set in stone. We get 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 heart, and that's the final design, folks. But for a plant, the whole design is modular. It's open-ended. They can just keep adding new parts, new leaves, new branches, new roots for as long as they live.
So who's running this never-ending construction site? Well, meet the master architects. They're these tiny, incredibly powerful crews of cells that are working around the clock. And they're called meristems.
A meristem is just a powerhouse of potential. It's this tiny little zone that's packed with stem cells, cells that haven't decided what they want to be when they grow up. They are the ultimate source of every single new leaf, stem, root, and flower that a plant will ever make.
And a plant basically has 2 main construction crews. At the very tip of every shoot, you've got the shoot apical meristem, or the SAM. This is the skyscraper crew constantly building the plant up, up, up toward the sun. And then deep underground, at the tip of every root, you have the root apical meristem, the RAM. This is the foundation crew, always pushing downwards, exploring the soil for water and nutrient.
Okay, so let's actually see this process in action. We're going to focus on that skyscraper crew, the SAM, and the very first thing it has to build. Because to get energy, a plant needs solar panels. It needs leaves.
But here's the thing. The meristem doesn't just slap these solar panels on anywhere. I mean, if you look closely at a plant stem, the way the leaves are arranged, it's not chaotic at all. It's an incredibly precise pattern. It's a true masterpiece of natural engineering.
Of course, scientists have a name for this. It's called phyllotaxy. And really, it's just the system that governs where each new leaf is going to form on the stem. The entire goal is maximum efficiency, making sure that every new leaf doesn't block the sun from the ones growing below it.
And plants have all these different strategies to do this. Some have these beautiful spiral patterns, almost like a staircase climbing the stem. Others arrange their leaves in whorls, or in opposite pairs, or in alternating sides. Each pattern is just a different solution to the exact same problem. How do you build the most efficient living solar array you possibly can?
Now, for a lot of its life, a plant is just focused on one thing, growing bigger. But then, the architects get a new set of instructions. The entire mission changes, and the blueprint gets a major update for a whole new kind of construction project. This is that big moment when a plant switches from just growing to reproducing. The drive to build more leaves and more stems, that takes a back seat to a new, urgent command. It's time to make flowers. So, how does this even happen? Well, it's this beautiful chain reaction. First, there's an external signal. A lot of the time, it's the changing length of the day that tells the plant the season is right. This signal then flips on specific messenger genes, which are kind of like a chemical memo. This memo zips up to the shoot apical meristem, the SAM, and transforms it into a floral meristem. And the result? The very next thing it builds won't be a leaf. It's going to be a flower. So the meristem has its new command, but it doesn't just build a flower randomly. No, it follows this remarkably simple and elegant genetic recipe to construct a perfect flower, piece by piece.
A typical flower is built in 4 concentric layers, or whorls, starting from the outside and working in. First, you get the protective sepals, then the colorful petals to attract pollinators, then the pollen-making stamens, and finally, right in the very center, the ovule-producing carpels.
So the big question is, how does this tiny little group of cells know what to build and where to build it? Well, it all comes down to a really simple genetic code that scientists call the ABC model.
And this is just, it's beautiful. Get this, there are 3 classes of genes, A, B, and C. And it's the combination of these genes that tells each whorl what to become.
So where only the A genes are turned on, boom, you get sepals. Where A and B genes overlap, you get petals. B and C working together make the stamens. And where only the C genes are active, right in the middle, you get carpels. It's this simple, powerful code that builds the incredible, complex beauty of a flower.
And there you have it. That's the whole process. From a tiny, dynamic cluster of stem cells following a master blueprint, a plant builds itself. First, optimizing its structure for the sun, and then, following a simple genetic recipe, creating these perfect structures to ensure there's a next generation. It is just architectural precision at a microscopic scale.
And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating thought. For centuries, we've admired this blueprint from afar. Now, scientists can actually read it. And if we can read the genetic blueprint that tells a plant how to grow, when to flower, and when to make fruit, what happens when we start to write it ourselves?